Previously on the last Pokemon Crystal Challenge run, we're in charge of our own routing and we're not listening to what that liar has to say. And coming up, must have met over their love for electric rats. Welcome along to 4 Moves. This is the new experimental series where we grab a Pokemon, we give it 4 moves, and we see just how quickly we can defeat Red. Unlike in our Supermon Challenge, the timer's back, the resets are back, Hidden Power and Return are back, and this series is mostly aimed at those Pokemon who either wouldn't do too well in one of our classic time challenges, or will struggle with Supermon. So we're going to be seeing a lot of the early game Pokemon, a lot of Pokemon with the lower base stat totals, and a lot of the Pokemon whose typing really isn't suitable for Generation 2. So today's Pokemon is Beedrill. This is a Pokemon I've wanted to run for quite some time together here on the channel, but whenever I've done it in a classic setting, I've not really been able to get a good run out of it. I've normally given up at some point around about the Pokemon League, where we really were starting to get outclassed. So I think giving it 4 good moves from the start is absolutely going to be the play with the Beedrill. I think we'll be able to get right to the very end. Now, our learn set is limited to say the least, and we don't have great special attack, which limits us even further, so I think we're going to be going on a purely physical set for this Beedrill. Hidden Power and Return are allowed, and I think we will be learning at least one of those, undoubtedly probably actually both of those, because of how limited the learn set is. Sludge Bomb's going to be our best stab move, so I think we'll be learning Sludge Bomb as well. We've gone for Hidden Power Ground on this one. That's mostly a focus for Jasmine, but it will come in useful elsewhere as well. I'm going to go for Swords Dance in slot 3. I think Swords Dance will be very, very useful in this run. It will boost our already fairly good physical attack. We'll plonk Return down in slot 4. And then we'll have Sludge Bomb in slot 1. I think I've gone past Return there. Can't see it for looking at it. And yeah, we will put Sludge Bomb rather, in slot 1. I think this is going to give us the best chance of getting through fairly quickly, because we are, of course, against the clock in this run. We have to play efficient, we have to play quick, and we have to play our best. So this is the Beedrill we're running with. Level 5 with 22 HP, holding a berry, with Sludge Bomb, Hidden Power, Ground, Swords Dance and Return. 14 in attack, 10 in defense, 11 in special attack, 14 in special defense and 14 also in speed. And with the moveset, we are ready to get started. Now, the aim of this series is to try and make some of the weaker Pokemon a little bit more competitive. That is why we are running with these 4 moves from the beginning. It is going to make the challenge easier, but that's kind of the point, because some of these other Pokemon would stand no chance on the other leaderboards. They would be stuck right in the middle towards the bottom. They wouldn't be memorable either way. And I wanted a way to try and showcase all of these Pokemon in an environment where they get to thrive, instead of constantly talking about the struggles that we have with a certain Pokemon. So I think Beedrill's going to do fairly well in this challenge. There will be parts of the challenge where it inevitably has a bit of a tougher time compared to other stronger Pokemon, shall we say. But I am expecting fairly good things from this Beedrill. We are in the fast level up group as well, which is going to serve as an advantage. We are uncapped with our levels here in the 4 Moves challenge, so we can be as over leveled as we like. Obviously, because we're against the timer, we're not going to go out of our way to do extra battles unless we absolutely need them. But I think overall we're going to have a fairly good time. Now, one of the interesting things actually about 4 moves is if we start with Return, it's initially not that stronger powered move. So we do have that little payoff, because at the moment it's only a 30 base power move. So we'll have to try and boost our friendship as much as we can in order to try and make Return a little bit more useful. By the end it will be a base 102 power move, so it will end up being one of our strongest moves, but for now it is absolutely our weakest move. We did get through Rival 1 fairly easily there. As you can see, he does have the Cyndaquil line. It's customary to run the Pokemon with a type advantage over it, even if we do have a Hidden Power type that is an advantage over his Pokemon. He can still hit us hard if he gets the chance to hit, of course, which in this one you never know. With a speed of 75, I don't think he'll be hitting us very hard at all, in all honesty. And I am excited to see just how well Beedrill does. I don't actually know how far or how fast we're going to go in this one. I don't know what the roadblocks will be for Beedrill. So it's definitely going to be one where we are learning together. That's one of the beauties of the 4 moves challenge as well. It means that everything is a little bit less predictable, because we do have the added option of having 4 different moves compared to what we would normally have at this point in the challenge, because we wouldn't get a good stab for Beedrill until after we'd defeated the rockets in Mahogany, if we were doing a traditional challenge run. So I think Beedrill is absolutely one of those Pokemon that gets a big leg up, maybe even 2 legs up, courtesy of the 4 moves challenge. And as we are making our way towards Violet City, I do just want to remind you all that we do have a change to our timer. So the timer has been replaced. Live Split is no more here on the channel, and we're running a custom timer instead, and that will give us the most accurate possible timings for our Pokemon. If I let go of the buttons, the timer will automatically pause just like that. As soon as I start pressing the controller again, the timer will restart. There's a little bit of latency either side, but it does all resync itself perfectly. So we are going to be getting the most accurate results for our times now, instead of having to rely on little old me and a lot of human error. And with that, we have made it into our first gym. We outsped Birdkeeper Abe, and it was a one-shot with Sludge Bomb against his Spearow, so I have no idea how much damage we're going to be taking from Falconer's Gust. He is our first gym leader together today, a Flying-type specialist who leads with Pidgey. Sludge Bomb's a one-shot on the Pidgey, here comes the Pidgeotto. Gust does a fair amount, but we are able to outspeed and 2-shot. We obtain the Zephyr badge in 4 minutes and 44 seconds. So that is the first of our 16 badges we'll be getting throughout the course of this challenge. We will have to see if we have a smoother ride as that throughout the rest of this one. And now in this challenge, we do get the key escape rope, because TMs and HMs have been disabled so that we cannot cheat with our moves. That does also mean that we are not going to be seeing the traditional HM friends. In this run, we have the HM items in place instead, so I'm going to be relying on all of you lovely HM friends in the comments to be the HM friends for this run, because you are all very much appreciated. And I do like running with the HM items. It does make my life a little bit easier, because there's fewer things to think about, and you know what I'm like, I'm terrible at remembering all the little bits that we need to do throughout the course of a run. Now, we are going to make our way into Union Cave. We'll selectively take on a few trainers en route as well, but we're not going to do too much in the way of overtraining. I have just noticed that the level cap applied itself without my knowledge in this one. It has now been fixed, and I don't think the extra 20, 30 experience points or whatever that we are missing for this one will make any difference whatsoever. Now, I do want to introduce you to somebody that you may not have seen in the challenge runs. This is the time changer. If we change the time to Friday, I do believe that we will have a little friend out here. Frida of Friday will have the Poison Barb for us, so that will let us get a 10% boost to our poison type moves. Kind of handy to have, especially early on in the challenge, when we are still lacking in the stat experience department. So we will swap the berry out for that, and we'll make our way through the cave. And we got through the cave with relatively few incidents to talk of. That does mean we are now in Azalea Town, where we have the rockets to deal with next. And I think, having Hidden Power Ground, it's going to be a fairly simple affair for the rockets. There won't be too much that they can do to hurt us, because we are the poison type, and we have super effective damage on a lot of the rockets Pokemon. We are going to grab a few super potions, and we'll grab some repels while we're at it as well, so that we can speed up our movements through the middle part of the challenge. And now we are in to the well. I'm hoping this will be a fairly simple rocket section, and I'll be able to see you on the other side with a victory. We had a little bit of a hairy situation where we ended up being confused by a Zubat, but we managed to hit through the confusion there. We do have paper-thin defences, of course, only 40 in our physical defence, So anytime we are confused, we are at risk of going down. Another reason why this Pokemon is not trying the Supermon run quite yet. I'm sure it will get its chance to do the Supermon run, but now is absolutely not the right time for Beedrill. But I know a lot of people wanted to see Beedrill get at least some form of challenge through Generation 2. There is somebody in my comments who has been patiently waiting for the absolute longest time for a Beedrill run, and I am delighted to finally, after 3¼ years, bring you the Beedrill run, because you have been so patient. It's been pretty much since day one that you've wanted to see Beedrill, and I have honestly been trying so hard to get a Beedrill run over the line. I've never had any luck. Then Snowy managed to get a very good Beedrill run done, and now hopefully it is my turn to get just as good a Beedrill run as well. We are now on our final gym trainer here in Bugsy's gym, and that will lead us on to Bugsy himself, Bug-type specialist. Doesn't have a Beedrill though, so I don't think Bugsy's any good. Leads with Metapod. We'll set up a few sword stances here, we don't want to risk anything too much. And then we will just get to Sludge Bombing, I think, on the Metapod. We will use a Hidden Power neutral ground on the Kakuna, and then we've got Sludge Bomb for the Scyther. Pretty good stuff there. Easy battle. 10 minutes and 41 seconds for the Hive badge. Let us now do a very quick heal before we take on rival number 1. Rival number 2, I beg your pardon. It's 2 runs in a row I think I've accidentally called this rival 1. We could take a reset or 2 here, it all depends on the RNG for the Ghastly. We are going to want to set up a Swords Dance or 2 and hope that we don't get sent to sleep. Then Hidden Power will one-shot the Ghastly. Quilava will go down and one-shot Hidden Power as well, growing up to level 18, and we can Sludge Bomb away the Zubat. Rival 2 proving to be just as easy as Rival 1 there. Let's get ourselves into the forest now and let's start thinking about Goldenrod. And now the first part of the forest is done. We've reunited Farfetch'd with its human like we have in many runs. We do of course get the Scythe. That is the replacement for Cut in these challenges, and we can make our way further through the forest. We'll say a quick hello to the green headman staring at the tree, and now I really need to improve my movement again. That is going to be the one thing that I think lets this Beedrill run down at the moment. My overworld movement has gone a little bit bad since doing Supermon, because I don't have to think about it quite as much, but there's not much I can do about that, barring practice. That is the thing about a lot of these time challenges. If you get out of the practice of doing them, you're going to be rusty for the first little while. There's no ifs, ands or buts about it. You're just going to have to deal with the fact that you're not going to get perfect movement. So I would recommend, if you are doing time challenges and you take a break, maybe don't try and set a PB with your first 5 or 10 challenges back, because it just will not happen. Which is why I'm glad we're doing a new leaderboard as well for this series, because it means that the pressure is slightly off. That's something actually I worry about a lot. I put so much pressure on myself doing these runs, especially the ones against the clock. So I have to remind myself to keep a little bit grounded. Remember that it is just all for fun at the end of the day, and we will get the time that we get regardless of how well or badly we do with everything. There is only one chance for each Pokemon. We've made that decision at the beginning of the channel, and redos are there for a reason much later on. And I generally tend to do redos at the end of a playing cycle, where I know I'm going to be pushing for my better times and my better gameplay. So I tend to do the first runs, especially with a lot of the weaker Pokemon, and you might think it's unfair, but some Pokemon do have to come first in the recording sessions anyway. So I generally do a lot of the weaker Pokemon first, and then when I'm feeling like I'm playing good, that's when I'll do the first attempts for the new Pokemon that I think have a chance of doing well on the leaderboard. And then after that, I go for the strong Pokemon that need a redo. Because you never know, might end up doing things like we did with the Zangoose run just a few weeks ago. We've done our first sweep up past the north of Goldenrod up towards Floria. Got a few levels from some of the trainers there on routes 35 and route 36, and we are now ready to take on Whitney. She should be fairly easy as long as Clefairy plays ball. We are very much relying on this Clefairy not metronoming something incredibly overpowered. Metronome, or should I say Clefairy learning Mimic, could have been dangerous there, but we will just then use a pair of Sludge Bomb to get through the rest of the battle. No issues at all there at Whitney, and we do obtain our next badge in 16 minutes and 12 seconds. And with Whitney's badge acquired, we can now have a little chance with the eavesdropping so-and-so. She will give us a squirts bottle, and that lets us get rid of the Sudowoodo. I've decided to make the splits a little bit bigger on the overlay again. I have the smaller overlay in place for Pokemon that have oodles of moves, but I realised that Beedrill's moveset was not taking up anywhere near close enough to cover up the full splits box, so we're swapping to the slightly larger overlay. That's one of the things I'm going to be trying to be doing as well in the future. I'm going to try and adapt the overlay to each individual Pokemon, so that if we have the room for more information, we will put more information up, but it will never be information overload. And now Beedrill is absolutely a Pokemon who will benefit from doing the faster, safe version of Ecruteak and Olivine, so we'll start heading over this way. I'm actually not that worried about getting caught by the Slowpoke man, because our special defense is far, far better than our physical defense, and Sludge Bomb does run neutral on psychic types. I always forget, actually, that poison type moves are neutral on the psychic type. I don't know if it's just me, but it always feels like it shouldn't be. And we will also take on both Derek and Ruth. They're going to be very easy battles, with them both having Pikachu and with having Hidden Power Ground. It makes perfect sense to take them on. I do like that there's a little couple here that we've lovingly called the married couple on our streams together, who both share the same Pokemon. Clearly must have met over their love for electric rats. And that brings us into Olivine City. We're going to get the Burly Man's phone number now so I don't forget it, and we'll also do a quick PowerPoint heal. Now, I do know that Quick Safe Olivine City, Quick Safe Ecruteak, whatever you want to call it, where we put our teleport spot in the Pokemon Center in Olivine, has been a little bit controversial with a couple of people, but please do trust me, it does save time in the long run. We have done extensive testing. It's one of the few things where I have actually put in the grind and done the tests, so I feel confident enough in saying that this routing is quicker for 99% of Pokemon at the very least, and it is absolutely going to be beneficial for Beedrill. Being in the fast experience group does mean that we're going to rocket up those levels, and it will give us a much better chance of getting through Rival 3 and Morty relatively unscathed. Return, by the way, is now all the way up to 62 power, so it's now a usable move, although we aren't going to be able to use that in Morty's gym. There was the logic there. I was looking at the moves for Morty's gym, thinking about what we can use, because of course Sludge Bomb is going to be not particularly useful in Morty's gym, and I thought to myself, what's Return's power? And yes, 62. We are slightly shy of a headbutt power now, so we are slowly getting there with Return. It will become usable at some point later on, I am absolutely sure of it. Now, just to remind you all about what we do here with the new routing in Olivine and Ecruteak, we do a second heal here, and then we cycle all the way back. And I'll show it to you in full. It is not very long at all. We are already back into the Burnt Tower. Because you've got to remember as well, we don't have to walk back from Ecruteak Pokemon Center into the Burnt Tower. We can go straight in, and because it's already on the west-hand side of the city. Now, let's take on the third and middle rival battle. We'll set up a couple of sword stances. Spite is fine. Lick is fine. Why are you not swearing today, rival? We'll Hidden Power the Quilava as well, and will he send out his Magnemite next? Yes, he will. Brilliant stuff. That just leaves Zubat left to go. Sludge Bomb's going to be able to one-shot it because Zubat hasn't got the best defences in the world, and we can fall through the floor, feeling very good that we've defeated Rival 3. And that was the final gym trainer here in Morty's gym. We're going to equip the Mince Berry for the Morty battle itself. We'll use an Ether on our Hidden Power, and we will engage him in battle. Morty is our fourth gym leader together today, a dual Ghost and Poison type spectacular leader who leads with Ghastly. The plan here is just set up a couple of swords dances. There's a curse. We've been waiting for a curse this entire time. Nothing's sworn at us yet. We'll get through the Ghastly and the Haunter. Here comes the Gengar. We outspeed the Gengar. Interesting. So we get to hold on to the Minceberry for another day. And we get an unnecessary crit there on the Haunter. Level 30 acquired. We get the Fog Badge in 23 minutes and 11 seconds. And now there is one more thing we need to do before leaving here entirely, and that is take on the Kimono Girls. I think Hidden Power Ground should be fine for all of them. We are going to take on this Espeon next. Espeon could be the scariest of them, but once again we have fairly good special defense. We're already up to 70 in our special defense. It's actually one of our highest stats, so we don't need to worry quite so much. Now hopefully I've done my PP management just right here, so we can use Hidden Power against the Vaporeon, and then because this Jolteon is fairly weak, we should be able to two-shot with Return. One-shot with Return, not two-shot, excuse me. Very painful inside hiccup there. Hope that didn't get picked up. The trouble with doing live voiceovers is that I can't retake, because I like the completely authentic live experience. I don't like redubbing lines in these challenges, and I always put a little marker, or always give a little audio cue as to when a line has been redubbed. So we're keeping that in. It is part, unfortunately, of having the conditions that I have. Sometimes I cramp and it's in weird places and it affects my speech. Goodness me, I'm made of spare parts, me. But it's like anything, you make the best of it, don't you? I don't let it get me down. I always try and think positively. Some people in my life do say I'm one of those obnoxiously over-positive people that always looks on the bright side of everything, and even on down days, even on days where I am feeling a bit rubbish, I'll always try and pick up something to make me smile at the end of it. But that's just who I am. I always like trying to be the positive, happy person in the room, because there's a lot of negativity in this world and I don't like it. So it makes me uncomfortable, being perfectly honest. So if I can get rid of some of negativity, that is exactly what I'll do. Let's beat up this Gyarados now. I think Swords Dance is the order of the day. You can nibble on us all you like there, Gyarados, and we'll get rid of it in one shot. That does save a little bit of chores later on. Mustn't forget to speak to Lance, as much as I don't want to. He's one person where I am happy for negativity to surround him. He is, of course, the lie where the Flyers will be catching up with him later on, whether we want to or not. And I'm actually interested to see how much we'll do without Swords Dance on a regular Gyarados here. Gives me a rough indication of things a little bit later on. There are a few trainers I like taking on, not because of the experience points, but because they give really good info as to how well or badly we will be doing later on. Oh, there's the bike shop call. Forgot that we hadn't had the bike shop call yet, and we are just going to grab the rare candy. We're not going to bother going for that bait elixir or into the houses for the TMs. Let us now teleport all the way back to Olivine City, and you see, we've gone cross-map with this routing, and we've already taken care of Lake of Rage. And that does now mean we can cross the open seas into Olivine City. We're going to do a very quick heal here in the Pokemon Center. Don't think we need it, but it's good to get ourselves set up as a little base here in Ecruteak. We've got the potion from the man in the dodgy shop. We've got the potion from the man in the dodgy shop, so we don't need to worry about that anymore, is the words I was trying to spit out there. But I got a little bit stumbled over my words there. Brain was going a little bit slower than my mouth wanted to, and I couldn't quite form the words I wanted. I'm just going to keep popping in and out of this Pokemon Center. It's quicker than fumbling around in the bag, trying to heal up a little bit of health, and I'm going to play this one a little bit cautiously in this gym, because we don't have great physical defense, so I think going back in to the Pokemon Center to heal when we need it is absolutely the right play. And now, after defeating Black Belt Lung, we can take on Chuck. He is our 5th gym leader together today, a fighting type specialist who leads with Primeape. We're going to do a couple of Swords Dances against the Primeape. Fury Slides won't do too much damage. Then we will Sludge Bomb the Primeape, and we will Sludge Bomb the Poliwrath. We get through very, very easily there to obtain the Storm Badge in a time of 27 minutes and 37 seconds. That gives us access to the air balloon to let us fly all around the region. That means there are some bits that I need to pick up. Parts of the bits to pick up does include the soft sand. We're going to be using that for the Jasmine battle to give us the best chance, hopefully, of getting through her fairly easily. A very nice critical hit there. Gives us the one shot, or I should say the two shot, on the Cool Trainer's Cloister. That does mean we can equip the soft sand in place of the Mince Berry, and we'll make our way back to Olivine City right about now. I did also grab a bunch of protein, stuck it in our Beedrill. Got room for a Carbos as well as the protein to give us a little bit extra in our speed. Picked up a couple of the rare candies that we needed to pick up en route for this challenge. And then we also got the PP up from Violet City. So that gives us a whole 12 PP in Sludge Bomb now, which is going to be absolutely useless for our next gym leader, because we are going to face good old Jasmine next if we don't accidentally get ourselves into a Pokemon. So let us now take Jasmine on. She is our 6th gym leader together today, a Steel-type specialist who leads with Magnemite. We're going to use our quad super effective hidden power against the Magnemite, and now we're going to Swords Dance just a couple of times against this Steelix. It's all going wrong for Jasmine there, but then it all ended up going right for Jasmine because of a bloody critical hit. Let us try that again, shall we? Misclicked there on the Magnemite, but fortunately a Gen 2 miss saved the day. One Swords Dance I think is all we'll do, and we've just got to hope that Iron Tail misses just like that. She gets caught in a healing loop, and we get through. Maybe should have saved Jasmine until after Pryce, but just one reset of Jasmine isn't too bad. And this is why we are not running Supermon, because in Supermon it would have been game over there. I did actually forget to save in front of Jasmine, because I'm so used to running Supermon, and I don't press the save button at all in Supermon. So we got off fairly lightly in the end. And now we are at the very end of this very tedious rocket section. We're able to one-shot all of the Electrode there, getting up to level 40 in the process. Lance does give us the bath plug so that we can get through the grand total of one whirlpool that we need to get through throughout the course of this challenge. A little bit ridiculous that we have to have a whole HM for one obstacle in the game. It's a little bit like Waterfall. We only ever deal with one waterfall in most of our time challenges, so it does get a little bit annoying actually, having to deal with all of the HMs when we have the HM friends in the runs. This Cloister is also incredibly annoying, because the amount of times it can spam Protect, it's already bulky enough, it already takes a couple of turns to take it down. I would rather just one-shot it. Let's hope we can get some one-shots now against Pryce. He is our next gym leader together today. He is an Ice-type specialist who leads with Seal. We're going to use just a couple of Swords Dances against this Seal, try and get ourselves up to a fairly decent attack stat. We get through Seal and Dugong. Here comes Spider-Swine, and there goes Spider-Swine. Level 41 acquired, and we have defeated Pryce to obtain the Glacier Badge in 36 minutes and 50 seconds. Having 7 badges now after defeating Pryce does mean we have the joy of the Radio Tower, where it's been a smooth ride up until now. Of course, we are the Poison type, so we can't get poisoned. We have Hidden Power Ground, and the lion's share of the Pokemon here have a weakness to the Ground type. So we've been doing fairly well. It's always going to be a 2-shot on the Weezing, and he didn't go for Smokescreen. So we're having one of our fastest routes through this 6 Pokemon trainer. He really is one of the most annoying trainers in all of Generation 2. We are now going to use one of the elixirs that we picked up so that we don't have to Pokemon Center heal. And we can get ourselves ready for rival number 4 already. I feel like this run is going very quickly considering we're a Beedrill. Let's get ourselves into the underground and let's take on the rival for a 4th and penultimate time. This time he is going to lead with Golbat, and there's not much we can do here. So we're going to Swords Dance as he goes for Wing Attack. We'll then get rid of it with a Return now that our attack is high enough to one-shot. We'll go to Hidden Power to make sure that we one-shot the Quilava, and we can also Hidden Power the Magnemite as well. That brings us on to Haunter, and once again, Hidden Power is the best move for that Haunter. We'll go to Sludge Bomb for the Sneasel, and that is the rival defeated for a 4th time, and there are even more rockets left to go, but I'm not going to make you sit through them. We'll reconvene at the top. I genuinely do not think there is a storyline in all of Pokemon that is quite as universally disliked as the Radio Tower section here in Gen 2. It is slow, it's tedious, there's nothing going for it. And I'm not a fan of it, and I don't think anybody else is a fan of it, but we're through it for another one now. In 47 minutes and 29 seconds overall. We're on a fairly good pace for this Beedrill so far, because we have already been through the ice path into Blackthorn City, picked up a couple of items south of Blackthorn City as well, which is why we now have full PP on our Sludge Bomb. We will grab the radio card, and then it will be time to think about Claire's Gym. And also south of Blackthorn, I did pick up the extra Paralysed Cure Berry, so that we have 2 chances to use one in the course of this run. That could come in fairly useful, because we'll need to set up against her Dragonair. We've just defeated Cool Trainer Mike here in the gym, and we one-shot his Dragonair with Sludge Bomb, so I'm feeling fairly confident about this Claire battle. We might not even need to do much setup at all. We will engage her in battle. Well, I think because we've got an extra Prosecure Berry, we will use one Sword Stance just to see what happens. We did get paralysed there, but it kicked in. We will then one-shot Dragonair number 1. Out comes Dragonair number 2. Once again, we know it's going to be a one-shot. Dragonair number 3 says hello, and this brings us on to Kingdra. And yeah, all we needed was one Sludge Bomb to one-shot all of Claire's Pokemon, one Sword Stance rather, combined with Sludge Bomb to one-shot all of Claire's Pokemon, and we did get through on our first attempt. That means we can rush into the Dragon's Den, and oh look who's greeting us. It's this Git again. Oh, I can't stand him. Nasty piece of work is called Trainer Darren. We will not have time to celebrate either today, because we are against the clock, but do know that internally I am dancing in front of him, mocking him for having a terrible Dragonair, because he does have a terrible Dragonair, an absolutely awful Dragonair that should not exist. He should not be ambushing trainers going into here. He should let them get Claire's Gym Badge. Right, talking of Claire's Gym Badge, we got the Rising Badge, 15 minutes and 40 seconds. Sub-hour Claire is something I'm always happy with, and we were very close to sub 50 minutes Claire here. And now getting Claire's badge does mean we are well on our way towards the Pokemon League. Well, I feel confident enough to even take on some of the Starmie. Yes, we do have quite a big level advantage over them, but we are able to do a lot of damage against the Starmie, knocking out in one shot. We're already at level 50 as well. That's kind of like my safety level going to the league. If we're around about level 50, most of the time I feel confident enough to at least have a good go at the league. Whether it will be easy or not is a different matter, but level 50 is kind of the benchmark as the minimum level I want to go in when we are running a weaker Pokemon anyway. A stronger Pokemon such as Zangoose on the back ports can go in probably at level 30 and still demolish the league, but a Pokemon like Beedrill, level 51, should be more than enough to see us through most of the league, and it doesn't matter what we do. Joyce is like a magnet to us. She will spot us from a mile off. I don't know what sensors she has, but she has a player sensor that no matter how many times I try and evade her, she always catches us. But that is now everyone taken care of pre-rival number 5. We are going to pick up an extra HP up just in case we need it later on. And we can now engage the rival in one last battle. This time he's going to lead with Sneasel, and regular viewers of the channel will know Sneasel is just free setup. We are going to use a pair of Sword Stances, and then we'll Sludge Bomb away the Sneasel and knock it out in one. Return is now at maximum power, so we can return away the Golbat, and up next is Typhlosion. We're going to use another return there, no sense in using our stab moves, and then we'll go to Hidden Power for the Magneton. That brings us on to Haunter. We will continue using Hidden Power. That goes down in one shot. Here comes Kadabra, and there goes Kadabra. Nice and easy rival battle. Sword Stance is a very, very powerful move. I can completely understand why they didn't bring it back as a TM in Generation 2. A lot of Generation 1 Pokemon are going to be at a bit of an advantage in this series for moves because they will get access to Swords Dance, and it is one of the best setup moves. I always think that Physical does better than Special in a time setting here in Generation 2, and being able to boost our physical attack by 2 stages at once, it does give a lot of an advantage, even for Pokemon with slightly lower stats. And talking of stats, let's take a quick look at our stats going into the league. We are level 52 with 152 HP, with Sludge Bomb, Hidden Power Ground, Swords Dance and Return. 124 in attack, 84 in defense and special attack, and 120 in both special defense and speed. Now those of course are the out of battle stats. We will get a big buff in battle, as we'll see against our first league member, Will. He is our first of the 5 trainers we've got to defeat to get into the Hall of Fame, and I think Will is going to be fairly fine. We do have fairly good special defense. 80 in special defense is not a bad stat at all. That does mean if we hold on to one of our bitter berries, we are likely to be able to set up a Swords Dance and sweep against Will. Of course, we then have Koga. We're Poison type, he's Poison type. We've got the moves to defeat him. He doesn't really have anything for us. Maybe a wing attack from the Crobat could be a little bit pesky, but we should outspeed it. Then we move on to Bruno. We've got free setup against the Hitmontop, so it'll just be a clean sweep across the board. Karen, as always, who knows? We'll either win or we won't win, and there'll be no real tussle in between. And then we have Lance. Lance does have the flying type on all of his Pokemon, but I'm hoping that we can use that Gyarados as a little bit of easy setup and hopefully get ourselves a fairly quick victory. So let us now get into the league. I did run off and grab a second Bitterberry just so that we've got one for Will and one for Karen, and we will now see how we do against Koga. He is our first league member. He is a Psychic type specialist, leads with Xatu. Interesting, didn't go for Confuse Ray straight away, and he sent out both his Xatu first. We like to see that. Jinx will go down very, very easily. She's very frail. Almost as frail as our Beedrill. In fact, maybe even more frail. I can't remember Jinx's defense stat off the top of my head, at least the exact number, but I know it's very, very low. And we have already swept Will, while we were being very nasty about Jinx there. We will now use one of our full restores, and we'll take Koga on in battle. It does mean we get to hold on to the Bitterberry for Koga. He does have a chance to confuse us, so that is kind of nice. He swapped into Venomoth. He has Psychic on his Venomoth, which is why he swapped. But we've knocked it out in one. Now, Return is a one-shot on the Crobat there. I was unsure. If it's a one-shot on the Crobat, we're absolutely A-okay for the rest of this battle. We will be able to use a couple of hidden powers against this Fortress. No boom for him today. And then a hidden power will one-shot the Muck. Very good stuff. Through Koga, 56-32, goodness me, 26-32 would be a little bit quick, wouldn't it? And we'll go straight into Bruno. He is our third league member. He is, of course, a fighting type specialist who leads with Hitmontop. Hitmontop's going to use Dig, it's going to do some damage. Detect is fine, because that means we can now get to sweeping. We'll Sludge Bomb his Hitmontop. We will also Sludge Bomb his Hitmonchan, because it's got Fire Punch, that's why that came out second. We'll go to Hidden Power for the Onix, of course, super effective, make sure we one-shot it. We'll go back to Sludge Bomb for the Machamp, and that just leaves Hitmonlee left to go. One shot, grow to 55, Bruno all defeated. Now, we are at a clean level. That means we can use all 5 of our rare candies here at Karen, get ourselves up to level 60. We'll use up this Hyper Potion, free up some bag space, and we'll use a HP up. And we'll engage her in battle. This is Karen, our final Elite Four member, a Dark-type specialist who leads with Umbreon. And the strat is going to be exactly the same. Unfortunately, we have been sand attacked, which isn't great for us, but we have got a double Swords Dance off. We've missed against the Houndoom. If we miss again, we take a reset. It's as simple as that. We get through Houndoom, we get through Vileplume, so we're not being paralysed. Gengar comes out to play, we will use a hidden power. We have connected, so we're not getting Destiny bonded. Murkrow's last, once again we've connected. We get through Karen in 58 minutes and 4 seconds. Let us now use a full restore. What should we hold on to for Lance, I wonder? Anything useful? Don't think we'll need the Quick Claw. We'll hold on to a Periskia Berry just in case I get my estimates wrong. I will engage him in battle. So this is to get us into the Hall of Fame. This is Lance the Liar with the Flyers, who leads with Gyarados. Swords Dance once, Swords Dance twice, Swords Dance 3 times because he used Hyper Beam, and then we get Sludge Bombing. One shot on the Gyarados. Aerodactyl's out next. We outspeed. We knock it out in 1. We gross 61. We get rid of the Aerodactyl. We can also get rid of the Zard. The big threats of this battle are slowly being whittled away. There his level 50 Dragonite goes. He's only got 2 47s left to go. It is now all over, barring the singing for Lance. I'm not going to be singing, so it's never going to be over. There we go, through the league, first try, 59 minutes and 9 seconds for our Beedrill. So we are getting a sub 1 hour Hall of Fame time for this 4-move challenge. Beedrill clocks into the Hall of Fame at 59 minutes and 24 seconds. Don't forget though, this is only half of the story. There are another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come, so it's still all to play for. So don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And we are rejoining the action, as we always do here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we'll do is grab this rare candy from the chairman of the Pokémon fan club. With that safely tucked away in our bag for another challenge, we're going to go straight into our first Kantonian gym together. Beedrill will absolutely be capable of taking on our standard Kantonian routing in this run. There'll be no issues whatsoever. We've got Hidden Power Ground. We've got a very good offensive attack stat as well. So I can see this Kanto section, at least for Lieutenant Surge, being very, very easy. We'll engage him in battle now and we'll see how we get on. This is Surge, our first Kantonian leader. He leads with Raichu. Raichu goes down in 1, Electabuzz goes down in much the same way as will Electrode. We're only actually 11 speed points off outspeeding the Pikachu at the red battle, so I don't think there's going to be anything outspeeding us in all of Kanto, and that will mean we'll be able to take on our standard Kantonian routing. So we are starting here at Lieutenant Surge. Next destination is going to be Celadon City, where Erica will be waiting for us. Just before taking on Erica, there are a couple of items I'd like to pick up here in Celadon. We'll grab the leftovers, I'm sure they'll come in useful at some point, and we get the PP up. And that brings us very nicely onto our second Kantonian leader. This is Erica. She is a grass type specialist, of course, who leads with Tangela. And we don't really need to do any setup in this battle. We have at least neutral stab for all of her Pokémon. There are no grass steel Pokémon in this generation. In fact, I can only think of 3 grass steel Pokémon in general. You've got Ferroseed and Ferrothorn, both from Gen 5, and then you've got Katana from Gen 7. Am I missing any others there? I think I did do a backport of Ferroseed and Ferrothorn, actually. Not sure if I released that one to the public, but there is a backport definitely sitting somewhere of those Pokémon. But it will have a lot of the same issues that Abomasnow had when we ran that a couple of years ago, i.e. Red will just obliterate it. But that does now bring us into our third Kantonian gym, if we can do the movement correctly. This is Janine's gym here in Fuchsia City. She is a poison type specialist, leads with Crobat. We'll one-shot the Crobat, grow up to level 64. We've got Venomoth next. She uses her Dire Hit. It is absolutely useless. And then just to make sure that we do one-shot, we'll go to Hidden Power for her Wheezing. Not sure if Return would one-shot even with 172 in attack. And we'll finish off the Ariados as well. 3 badges down, Soul Badge acquired. And now I've got a trip through the rock tunnel. I've got to do it in the dark. I'll need to put my glasses on for this so I can read my little cheat sheet. There we go, we are out the other side of a rock tunnel. Not the smoothest movement I've ever done, but definitely not the worst, and it does save time versus going up to the very, very top of the Sprout Tower and getting ourselves the Lantern. And that is all of the Kantonian storyline we're going to take care of quite at the moment. because we have another gym leader to face next. We are going back to Saffron City, and we are going to make our way into Sabrina's gym, where she will be waiting for us. She is a psychic type specialist, and she's going to lead with Pescion. I'm hoping that we'll be able to one-shot this Espeon. We can. That means we should be able to one-shot everything here in this gym. Mr. Mime goes down, and Alakazam follows suit. Level 65 acquired, and Sabrina's split is 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 4 seconds. Right, we have Nugget Bridge next, and we're using Nugget Bridge as our old Kanto chat section ostensibly. I've decided that Nugget Bridge is the right kind of place to do it, because the Kanto chats did get a little bit long, and I am enjoying talking through the Kanto section again now that we're doing it live. And in this one, I'm not really sure what I want to talk about. Didn't really have anything prepped for this little Kanto chat, but I'm really enjoying 4 moves so far. I think it's been a really fun twist on the original formula that is giving a Pokemon like Beedrill a chance to really show that it can do well if it gets the moves to back up what its capabilities are. Because 80 in attack with Swords Dance is not bad at all. Combine that with 75 in speed and 80 in special defense, as long as you're not getting hit by a physical move, you'll be absolutely fine. And then the other purpose of 4 moves is that it's going to be used as a tiebreaker for our Supermon leaderboard. That was originally the whole reason this series was devised. It was going to be our tiebreak series for the top of the Supermon leaderboard. But then I thought to myself, this is a really good way of giving some of the weaker Pokemon in Gen 2 a chance to get to the end of the challenge run, where they have a respectable time, where they have a time that is probably a little bit more reflective of what they're capable of in general, especially a lot of these Generation 1 Pokemon that lose a lot of their best TMs by coming into Generation 2. And that does now bring us on to Misty. She is going to be our 5th Cantonian gym leader. She is a water-type specialist, and she leads with Golduck. We're going to use Return against Golduck. We'll knock it out in one shot as we grow up to level 66. Out comes Quagsire, and we low roll there, but it's fine. She's only gone for Amnesia. Lapras is up 3rd. Probably not going to be a one shot here. Probably should have used Sludge Bomb in the end, but it's absolutely fine. We've got Starmie left to go. Once again we low roll. We've ended up being confused, but we knock it out regardless. And we are through Misty in a time of 1 hour, 8 minutes and 39 seconds. And now we can return the machine parts to the owner of the power plant. That gives us the next part of the puzzle piece to getting through to the end of the challenge. We're going to go over to Lavender Town, where we will have a little chat with the man in the radio tower here. He will give us the X-Men card. That's combined with the radio card that we got all the way back in the rocket sequence means that we can now wake up this pesky Snorlax and get on with our final few gyms together here in the Kanto section. The Kanto section is always very, very short. I don't quite like the pacing of it myself. I wish it was a little bit longer. I feel like we have to today, don't we? We are running a Beedrill. This is 3Drill. He is our favourite trainer that we can ever come up against, and we are going to have a very, very good time in this little practice battle between the bees. He got some practice, we got some practice, and we've shown him what he can do if he levels up his bees a little bit more. If he gets to level 66 and finds the right people, he'll be able to get all of those lovely early generation TMs to stick into the Beedrill, and he'll have a very powerful party on his hands. Someone who doesn't have a powerful party is Brock. He's our next gym leader. Rock-type specialist, leads with Graveler. That rollout's probably going to be the only damage we take in this entire gym, you know. We'll get rid of the Onyx. Here comes Rhyhorn. And then we have his 2 Water Rock, I beg your pardon, Pokemon left with his fossils. Omastar goes down. And if we one-shot Omastar, we know we're going to one-shot Kabutops. Brock is defeated 1 hour, 10 minutes and 54 seconds for the Boulder Badge. Getting the Boulder Badge means there's only a couple of things left to do here in Kanto. We will chat with Blue, get him to return to his gym in Viridian City, and he will be facing, or we will be facing him rather, in just a moment. So there's one more gym leader who we need to address before we take on Blue. That is Blaine here in the Seafoam Islands. He is a fire-type specialist, and he's going to lead with Mid-Cargo. And that's fine for us. We've got Hidden Power, quad super effective against that Mid-Cargo. Here comes, and there goes, the Bumhead Fire Duck. And we've got a Rapidash as well. 3 one-shots for our penultimate Cantonian Gym Leader. 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 2 seconds. With that, we can make our way back to Viridian City. We will do a very quick Pokemon Center heal, and I think it's at this point we will equip the leftovers, because he is going to lead with Pidgeot's good old Blue, and that Pidgeot could do some serious damage to us, and I'd rather it didn't. So this is Blue, final gym leader of the challenge, mixed type specialist, leads with Pidgeot. We're going to see if he goes for Mirror Move. No, he goes straight into Wing Attack. We can probably survive too. Don't need to, he's gone for Mirror Move. Let's get the Pidgeot out of here with a return. Up next is going to be Rhydon. We did the double Swords Dance there, so we can get rid of Rhydon in one as we grow up to 68. Arcanine is third. Return will more than capable of one-shotting this thing. Same with our Kazam, we're almost back up to full health now. And that brings us on to Gyarados. Gyarados is another one-shot, would you believe? And we've got Executor left. I don't think we need to use Sludge Bomb here. One return seals his fate. And we have first time Blue in 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 14 seconds. With that, there's only one more thing left to do in this challenge. That is to go and defeat Red. And to defeat Red, we need to talk to Professor Oak to unlock Silver Cave. And then we'll do a very quick teleport back to Viridian City. And we will start making our way onwards towards where Red lives. And now we have made it in front of Red for another challenge. Before we take Red on, I will take you through our stats. We are level 71 with 212 HP, holding the leftovers with Return, Hidden Power Ground, of course, Swords Dance, and Sludge Bomb. Those are the 4 moves that we chose at the start of this challenge. We have 171 in attack, 117 in defense and special attack, 167 in special defense, and 166 in speed. Those are the out of battle stats. We will get a big buff in battle when we face Red. And in case you are curious about the stat experience, we've got 26,500 in HP, 41,000 in attack, 37,000 in defense, 35,500 in our speed, and 25,000 in special. Remember, in Generation 2, special stat experience is combined all in one, and it goes based off special attack for the base stats, adding to the stat experience. And now for this first Red attempt, I have swapped to the Prirzkia Berry. This is Red, and he leads with Pikachu. We are going to use the Swords Dance. Charm has failed. We're going to try and get 2 off. And then we will get rid of the Pikachu, knocking it out in one shot with Return. Out comes Snorlax next. Was not expecting that. We will use Sludge Bomb against the Snorlax and we'll get rid of it in one hit. Venusaur is third. I think we're going to be fine for this battle, actually. If we can get through Snorlax in one hit, I don't think there's anything that's going to stand in our way. We get rid of the Charizard. We get rid of Espeon as well. He's saving his Blastoise until last. We will use Sludge Bomb. It goes down. We grow to level 72. And that means Beedrill has defeated the 4 moves challenge in 1 hour, 15 minutes and 30 seconds. And that time of 1 hour, 15 minutes and 30 seconds is about 22 minutes quicker than our Sunflora challenge. So we are in first place out of 2 for our new 4 moves leaderboard. If we plonk Beedrill on the all Pokemon leaderboard, we can see that we are in 37th place, tied there with a Golduck, just a second quicker than one of our Pidgeot challenges. And now, as the rest of this leaderboard does play out behind you, I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's very nice to get a Beedrill run across the line, and especially in such a good time as 1:15:30 as well. If you have enjoyed, by the way, please do think about clicking the like button. If you want to see more challenges just like this, and our Supermons, and our classic challenges, then click the subscribe button. If you've got any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. And of course, if you want to see the videos a little bit earlier than everybody else, there's always the option to join the channel membership and become a HM friend. But with all that said and done, for this video we are now out of time, so I will say thank you once again to everybody for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you all very, very soon.